Hello, city. Hello, world. Welcome to another installation of the Gospel Jazz Connection. You know what? Another week has come and gone. And as we sit back and reflect over what we've been through, as we look at the challenges of what we face, we date ourselves because next week we're making a great decision for our country. They say you can't right the wrongs, but you can try to append to it. What we need to do is let our voices be heard. And as you hear the music in the background, we try to usher you into a place of solace, a place of tranquility, a time for reflection, for thinking, because you have a choice. It's free will. But if you don't exercise it, it's on you. So once again, I'd like to welcome you to the Gospel Jazz Connection. I'm D-Nice, just one of the cats on your team. I got two beautiful ladies here, and you know what? We're just going to chop it up today. And so that's what we're here for, to give that drive a smooth ride. So put your troubles on the shelf for a minute, and for the next hour, just sit back, relax, and watch with your ears. Welcome back to this week's show. Let me introduce the other part of the team. In this corner, weighing in at, we have the one, the only Miss Makita. Makita, how you doing today?
It's good. It's all good. How are you today?
Oh, you know what? I'm not complaining. We're still alive, so it's all good, right?
That's it. We live. What's up? What's up? Hey, KTYM Media, and hey, Facebook Live. So welcome, and we're so happy to have you here this afternoon with us. And please tell the world about our wonderful, wonderful sister guests. Hopefully, remain forever.
Yeah, you know, we're connecting the dots. We're hoping that. We're planning on that.
Yeah.
In this corner, weighing in at, we have a new acquired young lady that I got a chance to meet when she did an interview with Dr. Cutter for one of the shows that we have on our television show. And it was just such a blessing to hear from her and see her and watch her in action.
Yes.
That I felt led to say, you know, come down, sit with us on the radio, and let's see what we do on that. So, ladies and gentlemen, help me to welcome Miss Qiana.
Hi.
So, how are you doing, young lady?
I'm doing great. Happy Friday.
Yes, it is. Now, you work today, so and let's tell a little bit about what you do, because, like I said, it's very interesting what you do as a livelihood. That's what, as a livelihood.
Yeah.
You know, and it's very befitting because it's needed now. So why don't you tell the people a little bit about you?
Yes. So I've been in the mental health. I'm a mental health professional, a provider. I've worked for the Department of Mental Health right now.
Yes.
I've done that for several years, off and on. I've actually, my career has taken me in a few different directions, but I have a practice on the side. I work as a liaison for the Department of Mental Health.
Good.
where I'm really making sure that children who are involved in probation and the Department of Children and Family Services are getting the proper services that
That's
they need.
excellent.
Intensive
That's
service.
excellent. Yeah, we need you. We need you right now.
Yes.
Like never before. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do. That's so important.
So I'm glad you can come on the air and talk about what you do and how you do it.
Yeah.
And this is how we're going to do it.
It's my pleasure.
We're just going to go ahead and just make sure that we reach people in a way, in a time that they need to be talked with, not talked to, talked with.
That's right.
And so that's what we do here at the Gospel Jazz Connection.
Yes.
We just talk about issues that are confronting us, and we try to do it in a way to where we are able to bring in the situations and also the solutions.
Yeah.
That when you have situations and those solutions, then what are you doing? You're just adding on to somebody else's baggage, what we call baggage.
And you
Right.
continue to perpetuate the problem
Yes.
instead of bringing the solution. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's been that for me right now. That's been the one of the. It's just it's a grievance to my spirit
Right.
that we're constantly shooting shots fired on what's crazy and what's the mouth of another person or a bad action of a person, and we're sticking to that. We're that what I mean. We're just glamorizing it and giving it even more power instead of. Okay, I've just got to that place in my life, Key, where I'm just like, I don't even go into debates with people. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like if that's how you live in,
Right.
you stay right there. But I'm gonna be over here.
Right.
You know what I mean? I choose to elevate. I choose to elevate my frequency. I choose to elevate my way of thinking, my way of walking, my way of talking. And if it's chaotic, I can't do it. I'll just shut down completely. I have no time anymore for drama because we all have that place where we can break. Am I correct about it?
That is correct.
Yeah.
So if you know that you're that person that and if someone can almost if you allow someone, because you have to allow that person to take you there.
Right.
That's another thing I had to learn. I come from a whole bunch of brothers and our tempers
Yes,
so
yeah.
that my brothers they didn't play and they would pop off. Now I
Right.
was the one that would take it
Right.
and then pop off. So my mother would say, you're worse than your brothers, believe it or not, because they address it immediately,
Right.
but you just take and push down, and you will be like a pressure cooker. So, and when you pop off, it's not going to be nothing nice. And I've experienced that just a couple of times in my life where I learned that was really true.
Yeah, it's a lot going on right now. Especially we were talking offline about the media.
Yes.
And these different shows and listening to certain types of music. And that's why it sounds like this show is so needed and important
Yes.
because it's creating awareness.
Yes.
And the key is once you have that awareness, like
Yes.
you're like, wait a minute, oh, I see I'm stuffing these emotions, these feelings, and now it's going to erupt.
Yes.
Well, if you're just on autopilot and you're not even aware, you're just functioning.
Yes.
So when we're able to come together and start talking about things
Right.
and help people gain some awareness,
Right.
well, see, now I can start to figure out how to come up with the solution
Yes.
because now I'm aware.
Yes, you are so right. For what I do with women and children, from here in the States to overseas, a lot of times we don't even want to acknowledge that there is something that we need to deal with, and that is such a negative, it has such a negative impact on your healing because you can't heal from anything you won't deal with.
I agree. Well, see, some of that, we could take it there. We could say that some of it is cultural.
Yes.
We're talking about as women, culturally, we have to get out there. We have these things to do. I'm
Yes.
tough. I'm strong.
Yes.
Black girl magic is beautiful. But sometimes it's okay to say, I need that support and I need that help.
Come
because
on.
we're human.
Yes.
We're not robots.
Come on.
So let's keep it real.
Yes. I mean, all the way.
And then that creates, when you're able to say that creates a level of camaraderie and a level of sisterhood.
That's so true. That's
really
so
does.
true. That is so true. I'm so thankful, man. I'm so thankful that I got some sister friends, man. I mean, from the Jersey to Compton, that my riders, my girls, man, and they don't let me slip. You know what I mean? I don't have women in my life that just tell me, yeah, it's all right. Yeah, Keita, you go, girl. You know, you that was all right. No.
Right.
I love my sisters for being able to say, yo, that one right there, you going down the wrong road, you know, and I love you enough to tell you.
Yeah.
And that's so important to have in your life. And that's another thing. We want our girls, you know, to say, if you're my friend, you finna rock with me no matter what I'm doing, if it's right or if it's wrong. No, I don't want you around me if you see me being toxic. And then you add the cyanide even more. You understand what I'm saying? You like, I'm your girl here, I'm gonna pour some more. You understand? That's insane.
Yeah.
Why would you want to be like that? Hi, Chi, because there go one of my boo things right there. I see you, mama. Yeah, you know that, and that's the truth. It's like you have to have the people in your life that think like you, move like you. They might not do the same thing that you do,
Right.
but it is so important to surround yourself with like-minded people.
Oh, yeah.
And I always say, I go for greater. I want my girls and my cats to be upgrades because I like to learn from everyone that is in my life. But we have to be walking in a realm of unity where it's like, yo, I'm not finna co-sign your crazy. I don't do that. And say I love you. You know what I mean? I'm not finna, okay, well, I'm on the road. I'm on the road all the time. And one thing I had to tell my husband, I was like, I could have been that crazy chick and you would know nothing about it. He wouldn't.
Right.
I mean, I'm that honest.
Right.
Am I not? I'm that honest.
Right.
I'll be like, dude, I'm that smooth. Look, I'm that smooth.
I know you.
And I'm gone.
Yeah.
I'm gone.
Yeah.
You wouldn't know nothing.
Right.
If you know, but I've always had people in my life that held me accountable.
Right.
First and foremost, I held me accountable.
Right.
Because even though I'm away from that husband, my first husband is watching me. So I mean, let's make it plain. You know, I know how I could have been and would have been back in the day in my 20s. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But now that I'm a grown woman, a mother, a wife, I know first of all whose I am, and I walk that out daily. I don't look for at a label either, sis. You understand?
Right. Yeah,
I all these labels and cliques and stuff. It's just it's unacceptable because you know we don't realize we're dividing ourselves more than uniting ourselves. When okay, well this clique or this religion or this is better. Listen. First of all, for me, if it ain't in them scripts and I can't find it, I don't want it. Secondly, we have to live according to what's going to keep us learning, growing, loving, and moreover walking in righteousness. I want to be more like my Savior. I want that mind to be in me. You understand? Not my mind, because I know I'm carnal. Right. And my mind can be crazy. You understand?
Absolutely.
You know, so tell me something, Qiana. First of all, what gave you this desire to study the mind and to help with mental health?
You know, that's a very interesting question because oftentimes I get that, and it's funny. Even some of my clients are like, "It's a gift." Mm-hmm. Sometimes I think things come to you; they pull to you, and you necessarily don't really even know why that's the case. You just feel it within,
right?
You know, I really thought that I was going to be a school psychologist.
Oh, okay.
That's what I thought. I thought I was just going to work in the school and be a psychologist.
Oh, that's good.
I actually worked at Kedron Community Mental Health Center. I don't know if you're familiar with where that is on Evelyn.
Yeah.
And I was working there while I was in this graduate program. I was in the program for a semester.
Okay.
And I thought to myself, I was taking the classes, I said, I'm not drawn to this.
Wow.
And I realized as I was going to a variety of schools throughout South LA and Compton, I'm actually working in a way that is feeding my spirit.
That's so good.
I'm working in a way where I'm able to actually, I'm healing people. When people think of mental health, there's this stigma.
Yeah.
But is it really? Because isn't it your mind, body, and spirit?
Yes,
if
ma'am.
you believe that. Now,
yes,
I
ma'am.
do.
Yeah, right.
And so when
Me
you're
too.
talking about being healthy
right,
as a whole,
yes,
what's so different between mental health and your physical health and your spiritual health?
alignment is necessary.
So I feel like to answer you, I feel like it was more of a calling. I mean, that's
good.
honestly
That's good.
what I feel.
That's good. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. That's how it happens.
You know, I worked with Kitty a long time, and Kitty Walker Davis down there at the Kedron Center when her and Muhammad Nasruddin were working together.
Pops,
and
bless his
that
soul.
was good people. But you know what I'm saying? I got the first chance of seeing a dose of crazy. I mean, from the real, unadulterated crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it bothered me that after a while, it seemed like people became immune to it.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, those people are just crazy. And when they would see, if it walked like a duck, it quacked like a duck, it's a duck. You know what I'm saying? And they would put them in that
Right.
you know, prism, so to speak, and deal with it. But then as I go down later in life and I still see the homelessness, the devastation on the streets and stuff like that with people living there.
Right.
With families,
Right.
and seeing the way that police now are in confrontation more so, and then when the dust clears, they've killed somebody who's got a mental illness.
Right.
Yeah.
It comes back to bear how many people basically are on the street because they feel like they want to drop out and be living on the streets.
Yeah,
Yes.
so there's a story behind we all have a journey.
Yes.
We all have a journey.
Yeah.
Before that person got to the streets, there
Right.
was a series of things that led
Events
them
that
there.
happen. You are so right.
We are human beings. People experience traumas in
Yep.
their lives.
Yep.
It's a part of life. There's transitional things that happen. When I say transitional, maybe somebody loses a job,
Right.
a death in the family, a
Right.
divorce.
Right.
Those things affect people.
Yes, they do.
So when you're talking about maybe someone who had a near-death experience,
Right.
how do you honestly expect that individual to bounce back?
Yes. Yes.
Because guess what? Back in the day, mental health is taboo, right?
Yes.
Right, right.
So
Exactly.
we're not even going to get any help for that. We're going
Right.
to stuff that.
Right. Exactly.
We're going to stuff that down.
Yeah.
We're going to act like it's all good.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But that's not how we work. Because it's going to
Right.
come out.
Exactly.
Some kind of way.
Yes.
You're going to find a way to cope.
Yes.
Whether it's therapy, whether it's running, whether it's drugs, whether it's sex, you're going to find a way.
You will.
And in a lot of times, depending on when you really talk to someone and hear their story, their behaviors match what's happened to them.
So true. Ugh, so true.
I'm going to expect you to walk around and skip around, but you've experienced these levels of traumas, but you never addressed them.
Exactly.
Or you don't know how to.
Exactly.
Or you're embarrassed, you have shame, you don't have someone in your life to say it's okay.
Right.
Right,
And
right.
we had to stop as a culture of saying Jesus will fix it in the better by and by.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
and first of all, if you got
Yeah.
faith, then you need to put an action behind it. Am I
Wow.
right about it? You understand? We kept saying, just pray and it's going to go away.
Right, right.
Miss me. It's not.
No, it's not.
You have to put a work to
I
what
agree.
you say you believe.
Right.
You know, that's one of the main things that we have been missing.
Yeah.
Like I said, a lot of us don't even address that there's a problem in the first place.
Because we can have a church family and we can use going to church and prayer as one of the coping mechanisms.
Exactly.
Right,
But there's a few others that we need to add to that list.
We need to get to the root of it. We
Right.
got to get to the
Yeah.
root of it all.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
someone like you is going to make you go deeper.
Yeah,
You have to make them go deeper
Yeah.
and
Right.
go to the root of the whole matter.
when they're ready, though.
Exactly.
When
That's
they're ready.
that's very important. That's what I've learned too. I mean, and that's in anything, in alcoholism, in drugs, and sex addiction, and any addiction. You cannot force feed anybody to heal. To say, okay, now's the time.
Right.
I'm ready to get it right.
Right.
Because a lot of people have to go through their own thing to where they're it's just like trying to force feed someone to be a believer.
Right.
You can't force feed. We got to cut that mess
Yeah.
out.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's another it drives me bonkers. Sorry if someone thinks I'm wrong, but you should let your light shine.
Right.
Let your light shine. Be an example. You don't have to be screaming at somebody
Nope.
about if you get hit by a car, you gonna die, you gonna wake up in heaven or hell. Stop.
Right.
Be a light. God said, by loving kindness have I drawn thee. These are the things that we have to use, not the butcher, in hell, brimstone, fire and brimstone, as we used to say as kids. But, it's even greater than that. Now it's just crazy because what we're doing is we're force feeding someone into a situation or to make a decision, and they are not ready. And just because I ran to that altar when I was 7, I didn't know what I was running for. What? I ran, jumped in the water, I got baptized, the whole nine. But check this out. To me, it was just splashing in the pool.
Right.
You understand what I mean?
I do.
There was no transformation because I didn't understand what I was doing. I was just scared. There was a movie called The Burning Hell. I'll never forget that movie for the rest of my life because it scared the bejesus out of me. But it scared us so much that we all ran to the altar, but it was out of fear. It wasn't because, oh man, you are my Elohim and I want to know you. You are the creator of the universe. I want to know you and I want to make sure you know my name. See, it became that later. But then when everybody was yelling the fire and brimstone at me, I just did it and thought I was saved. But I was saved from what? I wasn't saved. I just said something. You understand? And the truth is, you got to endure to the end to really be saved. And these are the things that we're not addressing. And that's why we need someone like you, Qiana. We need you to put us in, to say, no. Don't give me the superficial and what it looked like. Let's go to what it be.
Now, the practical application also to it is that having a daughter and having a niece, and and my daughter and her niece, because me and my brothers were separated due to issues. If I'm not on the same page with people, you can be family. I can love family long distance.
That's it.
Sometimes it's healthier to do that.
Yes, it is. And so I got a chance to hear some of the crazy that my brother did because he put his career first before his daughter. In my life, my daughter's the most important thing to me because without her, there's a part of me that is dead. Straight. And that's where I feel my grandson did. That's what we have. But in this one here, she has no daddy issues, and I appreciate that. But being a single man out here and working with women and seeing the crazy that these fathers, these husbands, these boyfriends have given these women with baggage. And then now, if I was out there trying to be in the dating pool, it would be toxic because these women have so much baggage. And I'm trying to tell these guys and these youngsters, every time you meet somebody got baggage, okay, so if you're not bringing something to the table that's helping to release that, remove that, diminish that, then you're adding to it. And they're not getting that because women, I found out, have that little girl inside of her. And they learn through trials and tribulations how to lock her away. And if a young man gets to see that young girl in that person, he's halfway reaching a point to where it's a trust and a connection. Because there's got to be a big trust for that. Because the more they go through, the deeper down they do to protect that inner girl in them.
That is so very true.
And it's hurtful when I see these women that are going into relationships that seem to have it all together. A lot of celebrities do that. They seem to have it all together, but they're running through boyfriends every other day looking for something that they can't find because there were issues that started back then that you would address because when you start talking to them, you go for these issues. The average guy that meets a girl on the street is all about God and milk. That's all we want to do. What can we do at the end of the day? Can it be the hookup? And so that's what we've got to start attacking these issues that are attacking these young girls that as they get older with them, they're more calloused.
That's so true.
And so we're stuck with toxicity within the women's race and for the guys and the guys that are coming up. That don't know what to look for. And then they wonder why they're getting a girlfriend and she's all kind of, she's mentally deranged. And they don't have the patience to find out how she got there, what happened, and how to take it from there.
Yeah, or they're mentally deranged themselves.
Of course, we are.
Blind.
And,
a lot of our men our poor kings have not had a father figure.
No.
A lot of them are broken within themselves. And I think if we are not an asset to each other, then we become a deficiency to each other. And like I said, we're the blind leading the blind.
Right.
And that's what I'm saying. We have to say, you know what, I got some things. I got some things that I know I need to heal from. You know what I mean? I was that chick. You understand?
Right.
I went through the whole. It's so much. My story is a book. But anyway, I had to one day wake up and say. I remember when I talked to my husband. I said, "Listen, while we were dating, I'm not finna just jump and marry you right now. I know you him. I do, but." I need you to understand I'm still working out some things. And I will not bring this into us.
Right.
I'm going to deal with me before I become a us.
Which was a very healthy thing to do. I mean, you're talking about the awareness again.
Yes. Yes.
And knowing, okay, you're the one, but I know I'm not ready.
That's
I got to work on these things.
That's it.
I mean, there's a lot I can say about this from a cultural perspective.
Yes.
Unfortunately, family, there's been this, we know this, there's a breakdown.
Yes.
There's been a breakdown, generation of a breakdown.
Yes.
In the family. Certain things that have been modeled and passed on. Women, young women, seeing their mothers behave a certain way or being in a certain kind of relationship. Boys not having their father around.
Right.
Or sometimes having their father around.
Right.
And being modeled certain things to them.
Right.
Bringing that into their relationships, but not having awareness. Looking outside of themselves. And then they're just, well, I just want to be in a relationship. Well, what are you bringing to the table?
Right.
My thing is when we're working on ourselves, because I have nephews.
Right.
I can offer them things from my perspective as a woman.
Right.
And I feel like I could do an excellent job
I
of
know
that.
that's right.
But
We got
there's
the T-shirts.
Yes. But there's certain things at a certain point that my nephews can't come to me and ask me for any kind of guidance in terms of being a man.
Yes.
I can own that, and I can say, you got to go to your dad. That's my brother.
Right.
Who can give you that?
Exactly.
I can give you this as your aunt, and their mom is there, but I can, we have a good relationship.
Yeah.
So when I think there's certain things that are lacking, and we're not learning certain things in the home, well, where do you get that from?
Yeah,
right?
out the door.
And then you're bringing that into your relationships. You're bringing this dysfunction that you haven't worked on. And then you think, well, how's this going to work? Well, cursing each other out.
Oh, gosh.
Because, see, I grew up with a brother, cursing each other out, me going off on you. Is that loving? Is it loving for you to call me a bitch? For me to call you a, excuse my French, or for me to call you a, there's nothing loving in that.
Right.
So you have to really identify what type of relationship do I really want, and it's not easy.
No, it's
not easy putting in that work.
No, and I mean, I had my season. I had my season. Listen, I'm a Jersey girl, so I mean, and then I came to California. Oh my God, my baby. What was my baby name? The comedian that passed not too long ago. Oh my God, he Oh, I love this brother so much. He had a heart attack. He was from Compton.
You're not talking about
Rick, what was his name? Oh my God, I can't
believe
I can't say his name.
He had a TV show?
He was getting ready to, he was, you know who he was? He was on Chris. Everybody hates Chris. He was the one of like, let me give you an economical theory. That was my baby. What was his name? But he would always clown me when I would go see him do a stand up he would be like, He said, see that one right there? She two types of crazy. He said, you do never unite New Jersey and California. I loved him, but he would always tell me, he's like, oh my God, I can't believe you as nice as you are. He said, don't be smiling and hugging me, because I bet you if somebody tick you off, you're going to pull out a razor. And I was like, yeah, that was me. You know what I mean? And that's the truth, because it's our culture. I grew up, they really weren't pulling out guns as a kid. They wanted you to keloid. They wanted to cut you on the ear, and razor blades was the thing when we were kids. You know what I mean? We didn't want you to die. We wanted to be able to say, I did that. you got that scar on your face, on your neck, so like I said, it's a cultural influence.
Right.
So now that we're seeing kids murder each other, I'm sorry, I love you, Viola, but we got shows that say how to get away with murder. Really? I mean, it's a wonderful show, I guess. I don't watch it, but I'm just saying I love her.
Right,
but I'm just saying you have to understand the messages.
Absolutely.
And so then we got these young people who don't have someone that is navigating and help cultivating them. They're going, ooh, I can get away with murder.
Or how about the reality shows? Yeah. Women are throwing glasses at each other. Now I'm not talking about young girls who don't.
Right,
Teenage
grown
girls,
women.
No.
We're talking about grown
40,
women.
Right,
50,
right.
60.
And I don't want to turn this into me bashing another
I feel what
sister,
you're saying.
But what I'm saying is, let's be real. And
Exactly.
Let's be honest.
Exactly.
If you don't have that person in the home to guide you, and you're a young lady
Right.
watching this, or a young girl,
Right.
well,
Right.
And
And then the new thing coming out of their mouth, well, I'm not your child's influence, or I'm not the person that is, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yes, you are.
Right.
You are an influence.
Their role model.
Exactly. And that's the main one too. I'm not your child's role model. Yes, you are, because everything has become media.
I agree.
Influence everything. When I go home, my daughter's on her tablet.
Of course.
She's 8. And I'm like, what are you know what I mean? I have to navigate. Now she can't go on anything on YouTube without it popping up on my phone.
Right.
I'm going to see everything because she thinks it's under her name, but it's under mine.
Right.
So now everything she go, it pops up. So I'm
That's
going,
right.
why were you looking at? And she was like, oh, mommy, see, I was only there for 30 seconds. I turned it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a mom.
Yeah,
Good
but I
mom.
have to, because these things are influencing our children.
Right.
And if we don't hone in, navigate it, cultivate their innocence, it can become very
We're
dangerous.
normalizing it. Yes, like that's normal. That's okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead, throw a glass.
Exactly.
Cuss her out.
Right.
Where's the camaraderie? Where's
Exactly.
the sisterhood?
Right.
And on top of that, I'm back to being the guy in the middle again.
Yes.
We're
please
watching this madness go back and forth. Now, if I'm sitting there and I'm watching ladies tripping like that with each other,
Yeah.
what does that tell me about me? First time I say something, there's going to be a glass thrown at me.
Wow.
And the first time I look at her like, are you crazy? You're going to pick up the phone and call the police. And when the police roll up, they're going to assume that I did did something. Okay? So I'm going to jail. As a black man, and then that sets up another adage right there. So see, it's a system being fed into.
That's right.
And by us not directing our kids, there's more fodder coming into it, because this whole disruptancy right now in this final day is to disrupt the family.
I agree.
Definitely.
That's all they want to do. They divide and conquer.
I agree.
And that's what the man's been doing from day one.
I agree.
Yeah.
In any culture, anything, we
true.
divide and conquer, get them out there on
That's
the
right.
island, and then we got you.
That's right. Especially
Because
remove
we-
the head. Get rid of that man.
That's what they're going to do. And so if we don't have the women checking themselves,
right.
Agree.
and most of the women out there now that are mothers are single mothers,
Right.
they've got to get their mind off of woe is me.
That's
Right.
Put that baggage to the side for a second and look at what you can do as far as transferring that baggage from that, especially a young girl.
That's right.
Because the boys, they're going to sit back and what they see their mother do involved in, they're going to try to do it too, or they're going to permeate that on that other woman. If they see their mother getting beat down and she accepting it,
Right.
they're going to feel like, okay, well, you know what I'm saying, I can always go back and say I'm sorry, whatever, because that's what they see their mother and she takes them back, whatever.
Very true.
Or feeling like that's a part of what their mechanism as a man's supposed to be, to put hands on. But if they find out that that's not what the mom's putting up with and she's saying, look, you are my child.
Right.
My job is to protect you.
That's right.
You see this right here? That's not the way it's supposed to go down.
That's it.
And not only am I showing you it's not, but I'm not going to allow that either.
Exactly.
Training them by example and explaining what that example is.
Exactly.
Because otherwise, the kids going to grow up with crazy too. Now we got the young kids coming up doing the same thing. So as they get older, we're older guys sitting there back and watching. What do? Because if somebody puts their hands on my daughter, SWAT team's coming in. It's over.
Well,
Do
you know
me
what's
right here.
interesting? I was watching, it's so funny. I was watching a documentary recently. Don't cut my mic off. on Chris Brown.
Mm-hmm.
And when the whole thing happened with Chris Brown and
That's my
Rihanna,
baby.
I thought to myself,
Filled it the
wow,
second.
these were both very young, very successful kids, right? Who are together in a relationship.
Yeah, two
Right.
toxic
bringing
people.
their stuff
Yes.
as kids into a relationship.
Very, very.
And when I was watching, and I had sympathy for both of them,
Right.
without
Me
even
too.
knowing all their story.
Right.
But when I saw Chris Brown's documentary, it's on Netflix right now. His mother had been in a domestic violent relationship with his stepfather, and he said he was angry with himself because he turned into the monster that his stepfather was.
Wow.
Modeled for him.
Wow.
He saw it. So it's speaking exactly, but I just recently saw that. It was on,
Right.
it's on my mind because I just saw that.
Right.
But I thought to myself, wow. And then I think Rihanna had,
Right.
experience, saw her mom go through some things. But it was interesting.
Right, with her
how
dad.
They,
'Cause
how
her
they
dad was that way.
gravitated to one another.
Yeah.
But they were young. I'm not dismissing, but I'm not saying, I'm not
It's-
condoning.
Yeah, you're not saying it's all right.
But let's have some empathy.
Right.
Right.
For these two young,
Right.
Right.
at the time, adults.
Because you
Right.
saw what happened. A like mind draws itself.
There we
Yes,
go.
it does.
I mean, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They were two children that had the same issues that
Yes.
had not been addressed and dealt with.
That's
Right.
right.
So what? I'm going to find myself. I'm going to find somebody as crazy and as sick as
Right.
me. And probably a little more.
Wow.
And you know what I mean? And this is, I mean, C4 and TNT is an awesome bomb. You know what I mean?
Yes, it is.
You know what I
Yes,
mean?
it is.
So I mean, and until you pull out, until you pull out the little wick, you got some dangerous bombs that can be set off at any moment. And like I said, because Chris wasn't dealing with that, he was angry with what his mother went through, but he never ever was put in a place where he could deal with that anger so that he doesn't in turn become the very thing that hurt him the most. That's what we tend to do a lot. We
Right.
become the very thing
That
that
we hate.
hurt you the most.
Exactly.
And you'll be like, well, why would you do something that, you saw this, you saw somebody on drugs. Why would you end up taking it? That's the whole point. See,
Right.
it's sitting somewhere in that brain. It's laying in the background. And then it comes forward. Sooner or later, if you don't address it, it comes out like she said in other ways.
Infestors, and it comes out. So, okay, being that said, that we presented some solid evidence that this exists. We can no longer put our head in the sand and say, "Oh well, it's
You
a
are
phase."
so
It's not.
right.
It is reality.
You are so right.
now let's do what we say we do with this show. We present situations and then we find solutions. So
Right.
let's take some time to talk about. Okay, let's go back to the Chris Brown scenario. In a better world of trying to work with people and help them to get past their differences, how could we have talked into the lives of people that are going through what Chris and Rihanna go through? What's a reality check for you on this situation?
You mean like not celebrities, but just people who are
People are going through it. Yeah.
with domestic violence kinds of things.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, there's definitely, I'm always say there's counseling.
Right.
And it depends on what type of counseling you want, right? Do you want to go see a therapist? Do you want to go talk to a pastor, right? It depends, but I would definitely suggest if you're going into a relationship with that type of history. I'm not saying that just because you may have grown up with that and seen your parents go through that, unfortunately, doesn't mean that you're gonna beat up your girlfriend. Or
Right.
that doesn't mean that that's the case. But there's something that could be there with that. And when
Right.
you're going into a relationship with someone and you have that, you may want to go and speak with someone about, because that's traumatic. That is a trauma within
It
itself
is.
to grow up around that and see that.
Right.
It doesn't even have to be physical. It can be verbal.
That's it.
So when you're talking about who am I coming into a relationship and what am I bringing to this relationship, it's about that awareness. And when you have that awareness, it may just be as a preventative to go and talk with someone. Hey, this is what I've experienced. What can I do? I'm in this relationship. When things come up, I'm getting angry. I don't even know how to communicate. I don't even
Right.
know how to communicate how
Right.
I'm feeling. You know what? What I really want to do and what was modeled to me was slap somebody across the mouth,
Right.
whatever it is, or
Right.
curse
Yeah.
them out.
Yeah. Yes.
What is a better way to how do I even be able to do? How can I do that? these coping mechanisms that I have, how can I replace them with things that are more healthy?
Right.
Because we all get mad, we all get angry, we all
Right.
want to cuss somebody else.
Right.
Sometimes it happens.
Yes,
We're
it
human.
does. It does.
But does it mean that that's your go-to?
No.
Well, if that's what you're automatically used to, how? And it's not going to be easy. That's why I tell my clients, I can say this and it sounds easy, but it's not.
Right.
So it's really about practice. Okay,
Yeah.
now I'm aware that this is what I grew up with.
Right.
But instead of cussing you out and calling you all kind of whatevers,
Right.
maybe I need to go take a break.
That's
maybe
it.
I need to go watch the game.
Right.
Or maybe I need to get with a good girlfriend.
Right. Yes.
And if I don't have a good girlfriend, maybe I need to get a journal.
That's it.
And write it down. Maybe I need to
Exactly.
get a podcast that speaks more positively. Maybe I need to listen to a station like this that's going to fill my spirit. Give me 10 minutes. Give me. You're not going to have all the answers immediately. This is a journey, but it's really about that awareness and getting real and saying that was traumatic.
Yeah, and you have to know your triggers. That's something I had to learn. I had to learn what my triggers were, and there are certain things that I go, okay, I feel myself. I feel it rising. I had to learn that's how I am. And if I felt my temperature began to rise, I'm going, okay, I just went from 0 to 60. And if I hit 100, it's a wrap.
It's a
you
wrap.
understand?
Wrap.
So I had to learn how to go, okay, I need to step back. I'm going to fall all the way back and I'm going to go somewhere and I'm going to breathe easy for a minute. And then we can address this when I can speak rationally. I just went through a serious situation with my husband and I was just like, I don't want to talk about it until I can speak rationally. And he was like, but I said, feel me on this and trust me on this.
Yeah.
And I love him for the fact that he humbled down.
Right.
Because I was in a relationship prior where it was like, no, you're going to talk right now. And he grabbed me and I was like, dude, I'm trying to tell you, I'm about to hit it.
Right.
And he was like, no, I said talk. And before I know it, I was wrong. I bust him in the mouth.
Wow.
I really did. I was like, I told you. And I mean, I went in. It was from the shoulder.
But we're talking about somebody who didn't respect your space.
Exactly.
Your boundaries. And you saying,
right,
babe, wait, I need a second.
Right. I was like, I need a minute.
I need a second. And it sounds like your husband
Yes,
allows
my
you to
dog.
have that moment so you
darling.
guys
Yep.
can come back together to address the issue.
Yep.
Because it's not about being right.
We
think it is, though.
Yes.
Sometimes.
Yes.
I'm going to get my point out. Oh, you said this, I said.
Exactly.
Let's take a moment here. But it's a practice. This is not something that
Right.
just happens. And
Say
when you
that.
grow up in an environment where everybody's fighting and cussing each other out,
Right.
you think that's the norm.
Right.
Well, what is your spirit telling you? Do
Right.
you feel good
You know
after
that's
you
not
engage
right.
in it?
Yes. Right. Right.
It's about, and so if that
Right.
hasn't been modeled to you, you don't know where to begin. You know it doesn't feel right.
Right.
But and guess what? You don't have to have all the answers.
I know.
We don't have to have all the answers.
No. And our thing is, I think even with my girls, even with my friends, I don't care about who's right or wrong. And in my marriage, I don't care about who's right or wrong. My thing is, okay, what are we gonna do to come to a common medium to make sure this thing works?
Solution.
You know what I mean? It's like I don't want to sit here and
Right.
well, my side and this is what I seen and this is what I and I learned too, sis, in my healing process was I had to learn to flip the script, to get out my own shoes
That's right.
and try to see from your perspective what it is we're trying to handle here. And I had to learn, okay, Keita, did you say that in a way that it might have been taken wrong, even if it wasn't your intention?
Owning it.
You know,
Being
yes.
accountable for your role.
Exactly.
But guess
Exactly.
what? I have something else. What if you guys don't ever agree on something?
Right. Just agree to
Okay.
disagree.
And that's for me. Ooh, that's a hard one. Because I want to, I'm a little type A. I'm like, I know what the facts say. Well, guess what? You still might not agree.
That's so sweet.
And guess what? Okay.
That's so cool, though.
What are you going to do?
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's just, we just know that's, what are we going to do? How are we going to compromise with this?
Right. Right.
Not easy for me. Right?
Right.
But I know that about myself. It's like, okay, well, we're saying the same things. So you're not budging on your position. I'm not budging on mine.
Right. Right. Yeah.
But in the meantime, in between time though, then there's still that ego that's being fed because that's all it is, the ego.
It is.
I don't want because women they say that women always want to be right and have the last word or whatever.
Right.
But sometimes, being honest, you've got to give it to them because they're going to try to. They're going to try to salvage it in the long run because they're like, okay, let me tell you something. It took a while to get this guy and to finally rope him to where I need him to be. Now I'm asking him to walk out of here by pushing his buttons. And there's going to be a time when after a while we're going to sit back and say, you know what? I need some space. Yeah. And then outside that door, there's that woman with baggage, and she's trying to get rid of her baggage by finding somebody to drown her sorrows with, and that may be your man that needs to drown his sorrows, and guess what? You have perpetuated something else.
Yeah.
So at what time do you stop and say, okay, you know what? We've hit an impasse here. There's got to be a time when you guys sit back and be realistic.
Yeah.
Because like I said, in the heat of the battle, you can't be realistic. Somebody's going to want to end up with it, and whether it goes to that domestic aspect of it physically, or whether you're hurting, demasculating the man or whatever. After a while, I mean, you kick a dog long enough, it's going to come out the corner and bite you because it can only take so much. Right. So at that time, when you sit back, somebody's got to sit back and say, you know what am I going to lose in this one here? And it's usually the woman that'll take that quick second and say, okay, is it worth it? And oftentimes they back down or whatever, and the man feels like he's winning. Not necessarily we're winning. Right, it's that she thought about the long range and said, you know what, do I want to start all over again? Because that's what you'd have to do if he actually comes back and says, I'm through. I can't take this no more, and packs his bags or find somebody else that's going to say, okay, I can do what she can't do. And next thing you know, you're in a vulnerable position to listen to that. Next thing you got caught up with the boogie. Right. So when do we realize that it's a time to just
salvage the relationship?
Salvage it and just say, okay, enough is enough. Let's quit playing with this one here. Because you can go on playing with each other for years. And there are women that are turned on to that after a while because they're so used to having that to where, and then afterwards they have the love-making session, and so they feel like it's a part of their, I got to push him to the edge, and then it's better. I mean, do we become 50 Shades of Grey, male dominance? I mean, what does it come to?
Some people, I mean,
really?
But that's the thing. We got to understand there are some cats that are just drama-driven.
Right.
I can't handle that though. I can't handle that. As soon as, like, even if there is something going on, like when we were on the road, if something happens in a band that I'm with, and the cats are arguing, I'm MIA. I have no time. Don't ask me my opinion. Well, what do you think? Do you think he was? Y'all fix that and holler at me when everything is cool, because I don't do drama. Right. Because my life's journey has already led me. I've been in the soft room. I've been there. You understand? So there's not a person that can tell me about hitting that point and breaking and then having to go to that special place. For me, it was between me and the Most High. And in that room, I was like, if you are as real as my grandmother said you are, then I need you to start a healing going on up in here. And then start with me. I don't want to point the fingers at what happened to me. Right. And it was traumatic. But I didn't want to point fingers. I said, you start with me. Show me now that I'm a grown woman. I was still young. I was like 19 or 20, but it was like, but I need this thing to be me and you. I don't want to live vicariously through my grandmother anymore. I don't want to live vicariously through my uncles who are ministers, my Uncle Gus and Pastor Hargrove and Minister Lester Taylor, because there were so many positive male role models. But I was dealing with something that I didn't feel I needed to go to a man because men had violated me in the worst way. You feel me? Yeah, so they became, it wasn't like my uncles and them were the enemy, but I just didn't want to talk to any man. Right. You can't heal me because right now you're the enemy. Right. You know? So I really had to take the time to go through the process, and I promise you it was 20 years. I would be lying. I did not. I always say I came out the wilderness on my 40th birthday.
But you're talking about, you said a violation in the worst way.
Yeah.
And if it took 20 years for you to get to a place where you're healthy and where you feel whole and where you're now able to be in a relationship, a healthy relationship with someone, then it took 20 years.
Yes.
Because on that, if you would have done it in 19 years, we would be having a whole different conversation right now. Do you understand what I mean?
Yes.
You're talking about a violation in the worst way?
Right.
You had, your journey needed to be what it was.
Oh, yes. And that's what, when I'm working with women, sis, and that's how come I'm so glad you're here, because you can give me that clinical mindset and clarity. And my thing was, when I was young, I was hot-headed. I was like, if you ain't been through what I've been through, you can't even talk to me, homie. You understand? And so now there's a lot of women now that I get to deal with that feel the same way.
And guess what, though? The reality is a lot of times we feel isolated and alone when we go through something.
Yeah.
And those very people could have been through something very similar,
if
and
not the same.
And you didn't even know.
Exactly.
So everybody's walking around
and
angry
you're sitting
upset.
right next to them.
That's what I'm saying.
For years.
And there's more of an interconnectedness and a similarity.
You are
than
so
not.
right. You are so right. You are so right. And it's about being honest, like I said, taking the time to say what the truth is. Call a thing a thing.
Right.
Call a spade, and then we can work on it. But as long as we're still doing what we were taught as children, what goes on in my house stays in my house. Just sweep it up under the rug and act like it don't exist. Well, Jesus gonna fix it in the better by and by. Jesus ain't gonna fix nothing that you don't put an effort to. You have to show your faith by a work. Period, point blank, dot. Until we do that, we just a whole bunch of folks walking around in masks. And I could no longer do that. It was killing me. And that's why I'm so grateful to have learned that what you think you're going through has never been about you at all. It's always been for someone else. Now that light is shining. Oh, God will do anything if you let him.
Absolutely.
He'll do anything if you just tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help us all, God. And be real about it. And stop pointing the fingers, because when you were a child, you thought as a child you were a child. But when you became a grown man or a woman, you have to put those excuses away and now say, what am I going to do? And these are the things that we're not telling. They're not telling us.
Right.
You know what I mean? They're not telling us. If you learn now to put those childish things away, and now that you're grown, nobody can do to you what you don't allow them to do. Anybody needs your permission. They need your permission. It's like I was saying, no, do I agree with what a lot of these women were saying that they went through with Bill Cosby? No. But why in Sam Kitchen were you going to that man's house at 11 o'clock at night by your dang on self? I got problems with you. I really do. Sorry, I am a woman. I know what it is to be violated. So don't come for me, because I will come back for you. I know, because when there's women who are getting snuck up behind just taking a jog in a park against somebody, knowing you going to see a grown behind man by your darn self at 1 a.m., what you think finna go down? That's a BC call from where I come from.
Yeah, it is.
That's a BC, period, point blank, dot. But these are the things that we don't want to take accountability for. Yeah, he was wrong, but so were you, period. Let's say that, and then we can work.
Yeah,
you know,
it's owning it. You know, people, but you know that whole thing, politically motivated as it may have been. Okay, they've been doing that stuff for years in the Playboy Mansion. Okay, we all, those of us in entertainment, know what happens behind the doors of the Playboy Mansion. It's been done, but then again, for the parents, once again. If you allow your young daughter to go to the Playboy Mansion, something's wrong with you. Okay. Those parents, for you to hear what's going on in these fraternities and sororities with this, and you allow your child to be there because you want them to be in that popular school, you want them to be whatever, the price of fame is going up. The price of popularity is going up, and these young kids are selling their souls for it day and night, like it's a thing to do.
Yes, they are.
To be accepted, because they're not getting the love and attention at home.
Exactly.
And so what do you expect them to do when they don't know what love is? They don't know what attention is. They know what lust is. They don't know what affection is. But when it comes down to the nitty-gritty of it, there's more baggage being laid than there is being picked up. So how do we address a situation on these campuses? Because you see, they run rampant. Oh, they're hazing. They're doing all kind of stuff. There's teachers.
Right.
How many teachers you hearing of that sleep with all kind of crazy stuff you're hearing about these coaches and whatever. So I mean, how do we address? Let's take a moment and address this issue.
Yeah.
I mean, so who's slipping? Is it the superintendent? Is it the dean of college? Is it the governor? Is it who is slipping? When I'm reading the newspaper and they're busting pornography rings and they're finding judges, attorneys, doctors that are doing child pornography.
Oh, yeah.
Now, what in the world are we living with, and how do we address these young kids on campus when we're trying to tell them, do what we say, not do what we do?
Right.
Well, I mean, to me, it's a huge issue. It sounds like it's a systems issue, and I definitely, if we're going right off the top of my head, it may be a panel of everything you said, from the governor to the superintendent to somebody on campus who's appointed to the professors.
Yes.
I mean, there needs to be a team at this point because it's so common.
Yes.
And we're talking about on campuses. That's a vulnerable population.
Yes, it is.
We're talking about young adults who think that they're really grown. Well, they're grown, but are you really grown?
Right, right.
You're living this college life.
Right.
You're away from home for the first time.
Making not the best decisions, depending on who you're talking about. What do they say? A boy's age doesn't fully develop until, 25 something?
Yeah.
I don't want to give a misquote,
Right.
but something.
40.
Right. Possibly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think that there needs to be more of a checks and balances with everything that you discussed.
Right.
Whatever that looks like. A panel, whomever.
Right. You're right.
Somebody needs to be appointed to say, okay, what are we going to have on this campus to kind of rotate to see what's going on? Maybe we need to have a crew of people pop up when you have whatever's going on at the frat house.
Right. Right.
Let's get real because it's happening.
Right. Exactly.
It's happening.
Yeah.
Right.
They're dropping stuff in your drink right while you're standing there saying hello.
Yeah.
Somebody's passing off something in your drink. It's crazy.
Sex trafficking is a huge ordeal.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
I went to a forum with the links. We had a forum that basically talked about, you think these children or young adults on college campuses where they're in college. Well, what does that mean? Because guess what? The pimps now are going to the college campus parties and recruiting.
Right.
So, when we know these things are happening, that is a good question.
Right.
There needs to be some checks and balances. There needs to be some more individuals put in place to kind of, I don't know, maybe we need, and I hate to say this, maybe more law enforcement training coupled in with a panel of whatever that we can say that looks like.
Right.
Because it is an issue.
Yeah, it's a very much an issue. And if we don't get a grip on it, because you have campus police on campuses too, and you don't know who's paying off who for what and how.
Right.
So, I'm saying, these are issues that we've got to address, and we can't do it all in one session. We had a great time. And in the last couple of minutes, ladies, because this is a great conversation today, and I'd like to thank our Facebook friends for enduring this conversation with us. And so what we're going to do is, in the last couple minutes, if we could take a minute apiece, I can start with you, and give a wrap up of what you saw today and what
what I saw today. Well, I think that this is definitely a show that's very powerful. It's empowering. We talk about real topics. We try to come up with solutions. We try to talk about things that can heal. And just allow people to strive for bigger and better and greater.
Amen, sis.
I love it, man.
Amen.
Okay.
That's right. That's it.
And while I got you on here, that chair right there, if you look at it, it's got your name embossed in the back.
Right. It's right there. We did it before you got here.
Yeah, so we yes, welcome to the family.
Yeah,
Thank
welcome
you.
to the family.
I'm so glad to have you.
Now,
I feel very comfortable.
Give us, is there a way that somebody can connect with you in case they need to follow up with you or whatever?
Yes. So I have an email address. It's Qiana.bush@gmail.com. Qiana is spelled Qiana.bush@gmail.com. Email me and I can get back with you.
I appreciate you. Miss Makita.
Yes, sir.
What's going on over there?
My thing is, I would always, if I have to say anything, first of all, today was such a beautiful, powerful day for me. I'm so glad that we got to have this conversation, that we're addressing mental illness in our communities, because it's here, it's alive and well. And I think if there's anything that needs to be left, family, it's we cannot heal from anything that we won't deal with. You got to deal with it. Call the thing exactly what it is. Don't half step. And y'all know what I really want to say, right? You know, don't do that, because then you're only half done,
Right.
and you're still walking around with past just shrapnel and debris in you. If you really want to heal, you gotta call it all forth, so we can get that thing out of you. You know, regurgitate it, get it out, throw it away. You don't have to live in it. That's
Right.
the main thing. You don't have to live in it, family. We
That's
all
true.
can heal.
I love it. Okay, so we have reached the end of another great show. And this is, ladies and gentlemen, this is what we do each and every week on the Gospel Jazz Connection.
Yes.
We bring you the best of conversation with smooth jazz, as you hear in the background. Mr. Kerry's been playing for us. He came and did an interview with us.
He's so sweet.
And Kerry Simmons, get that CD. It's off the charts.
Yeah, he's
Intimate
so
Thoughts.
sweet.
And we've got Troy Morgan coming in the box.
Yeah.
She's coming in to deal with us next week. And so I'd like to thank Lady D. Get well.
get well.
Miss M, we appreciate you.
Yes,
and
miss
love
you.
for you guys out there. And from Qiana and from Makita, this is D Nice. And what I say each and every week, put God first and everything else will follow. I guarantee it.
Love you so much. Love you, Tom.
I owe you